I drank myself into oblivion and ended up sending a voice message to my best friend. He's just my boss, not my boyfriend. We're always working overtime, practically living at the office, seeing each other every single day. There's absolutely no time left for dating. I wondered, was he doing this on purpose? Was he doing it because he liked me? The next morning, I woke up to our company chat group exploding. My boss called. "So, when did you realize I was doing this on purpose?" he asked. Just a week prior, I'd informed Ethan that all his work was scheduled until the end of the following week. Our company had recently wrapped up several major projects and wasn't taking on any new ones for the time being. All existing tasks were running smoothly, so I was certain I wouldn't need to work overtime that weekend. I had a date. I'd meticulously planned everything and even told him about it. He hadn't objected. Yet as the weekend approached, he suddenly called, claiming an urgent matter required me to pack immediately and accompany him to Hothan. Hothan? That's at the absolute southernmost point of the country. Even with invisible wings, I couldn't possibly fly back in time for my date. So, I had no choice but to sincerely apologize to my prospective dates, then, with tears welling in my eyes, board that business flight. It wasn't that I wanted to be exploited by these capitalists. It was just that the workload was truly overwhelming. Throughout the journey, I asked him several times what this trip was actually for, hoping to prepare some plans. But Ethan acted as if he were deaf, remaining silent the entire way. It wasn't until we arrived at the hotel that he casually dropped the bombshell. "Later, we'll hit the mall and pick up some clothes. For now, there's nothing pressing, just accompany me to some social events and try not to embarrass me, okay?" I stared, utterly incredulous. "Socializing with you? You mean this entire business trip is just for socializing?" Ethan shot me a slow, languid glance. "Or," he drawled, "you could look at it as getting paid to indulge yourself." I was speechless. Ridiculous was the only word I could conjure to describe the situation. I was beyond annoyed. But what could I do? He was my boss, and I, a mere employee who'd sold her soul to the corporate machine, had no right to object. With a blank face, I agreed and retreated to my room. That afternoon, I found myself accompanying Ethan. He swiped his card, buying me a mountain of casual clothes and several elegant evening dresses. In the evening, I attended a lavish party with him, teeming with high-ranking directors and privileged heirs. To my delight, I even met my idol there, happily getting an autograph and a photo. The following days were a blur of activities: mountain climbing, scuba diving, golf, and traditional tea ceremonies. Despite Ethan's insistence that it was all just fun and games, I could clearly discern that every person he met had a distinct purpose. Ethan was aiming to develop a resort project here, and the true objective of this trip was to conduct a preliminary survey. Once I realized the truth, I quickly recalibrated myself into full work mode. After days of relentless field surveys, Ethan finally took me to a bar, claiming he wanted to catch a performance by some famous band. Bands? I couldn't care less. I can't sing for my life, I only know what sounds good or bad. Truly, I had nothing to discuss with Ethan. That night, it was just the two of us. I felt utterly bored, so I started downing glass after glass of wine to drown my sorrows. Before I knew it, I'd had too much. My face was a blotchy red mess. A wave of dizziness washed over me, my eyelids felt heavy, and all I wanted was to collapse and rest. Then I felt the glass in my hand gently taken away. Ethan's slightly exasperated voice reached me from a distance. "This wine is quite strong, Tangy. Can't you be a little more careful? A true Beijing native like me, I might overlook a lot of things, but no one, absolutely no one asterisk, gets to say I can't hold my liquor. Who was he looking down on? I could still drink." I reached out to grab the glass from the table, but Ethan pulled me back, and I heard him sigh, a long, drawn-out sound. Finally, he practically dragged me back to the hotel. Ethan settled me into my room, thoughtfully preparing hangover medicine and water. By then, my awareness was a blur, a sudden surge of exhilaration bubbling up. But in front of him, I desperately tried to maintain my composure. I managed to calmly thank him, and as I escorted him to the door, I declared with tipsy conviction, "Boss, just call me if anything comes up. I'll be ready." All right, just get some rest," he said, half helplessly, half amused, as he gently nudged me back into the room. The second the door closed, I snatched my phone, and without a moment's hesitation, I unleashed a barrage of furious voice messages to my best friend, Chloe. "My precious Ethan is utterly unbearable. He's sabotaged my dating plans for the 5th time now. I'm his asterisk secretary asterisk, not his asterisk girlfriend. Yet we work together every single day, eating, then drinking, just like we're on a date. I'm starting to suspect he secretly likes me, and he's doing all this on purpose, isn't he? Having vented my frustrations, I tossed my phone aside and collapsed onto the bed, falling asleep. I'm generally fine, except after a few drinks, my confidence skyrockets, and my mouth loses all its filters. It's a habit I just can't shake. Chloe knows all about this little flaw of mine, so I figured a harmless rant to her wouldn't hurt. But the next morning, as I groggily surfaced from my hangover and reached for my phone, a wave of dread washed over me. The company chat group was absolutely asterisk exploding, while my private chat with Chloe was still stuck on my proud boasts about scuba diving adventures. That meant the furious voice messages I'd recorded last night hadn't gone to my best friend at all. A cold panic gripped me. I swallowed hard, my hands trembling as I hesitantly prepared to open the company group chat to assess the damage. But before my finger could even tap the icon, Ethan's call flashed across my screen. Years of secretarial training kicked in, and I answered almost robotically. "Hello, Boss Ethan." This time, Ethan didn't launch straight into work as he usually did. There was a pause, then his voice, subtly altered, asked, "So, when did you figure out I was doing all this on purpose?" Normally, when I get drunk, I black out completely, but this time, unfortunately, I hadn't drunk quite asterisk enough to forget. Every single word I'd ranted to my best friend last night echoed crystal clear in my head. "Boss, did you hear me?" I stammered frantically. "No, let me explain." I shot upright from the bed. "When I get drunk, I tend to ramble nonsense. Please, boss, don't take it to heart. This is mortifying. I'm absolutely dying of embarrassment." Ethan remained silent for a few more agonizing seconds on the other end. Then he simply said, "Actually, I did it on purpose too." My brain immediately went numb. I fiercely pinched my thigh with my left hand, the sharp pain bringing tears to my eyes. This wasn't a dream. My boss, after a year of working together, actually harbored a secret crush on me. I swallowed hard, my throat dry. This made absolutely no sense. Ethan was one of the most eligible bachelors in the city, renowned for his good looks, impressive physique, and overseas education, the dream man of countless women. My sole claim to fame was being crowned flower queen in elementary school. Ethan, observing my prolonged silence, slowly spoke again. "Now that you know, I won't pretend anymore. Get ready, we're going on a date right now." After he hung up, I looked up, seeing the dazzling sunlight streaming through the window. Everything seemed perfectly normal, no sci-fi movie unfolding. I opened the fridge and in a moment of sheer luxury, splashed cold mineral water on my face. Instantly, I felt wide awake. As soon as I finished changing, a knock echoed at the door. I opened it and stood there, momentarily stunned. Ethan had shed his expensive suit, replaced by a light-colored casual outfit. Gone was his usual aloof, superior air. He looked more like a freshly graduated university student. Seeing my usually stern boss looking so relaxed stirred a strange feeling within me. "Ah, boss is here," I mumbled, awkwardly tapping my toes on the floor. Ethan offered a soft smile. I'll wait on the sofa. Take your time getting ready, I'm not in a rush." With that, he unceremoniously strode past me with his long legs. He's over 1.8 meters tall and settled onto the single sofa by the window. Catching sight of my full makeup kit on the dresser, I hesitated for a moment, then opted for a light, natural look. My long black hair was styled into pretty, soft curls, complementing a bright, flared dress and a trendy rabbit-shaped necklace, all according to the latest fashion blogger tips. The outfit was perfect, save for one tiny detail. I struggled with the necklace clasp. After several failed attempts, I was debating whether to wear it at all when Ethan, who had been silently watching me from the window, slowly rose and approached. "Let me help you," he offered. Seeing I didn't object, he gently brushed my hair aside. His fingers were warm, if a little clumsy. It took him 3 tries before the clasp finally clicked into place. In the mirror, I clearly saw his ears were crimson, and he looked thoroughly flustered. Suddenly, I let out a soft sigh of relief. It seemed his romantic experience wasn't exactly extensive either. At least I wasn't the only one still navigating the single life. A 5-star hotel truly is magnificent. Even at 9 in the morning, the breakfast spread was still incredibly lavish. After our meal, Ethan led me to a cinema and, to my surprise, chose a horror movie. Watching horror films in broad daylight never feels particularly scary. I was clutching a giant bucket of popcorn, so engrossed I nearly missed a step, but Ethan, ever so attentive, helped me eat the popcorn from the top, clearing my path. Don't tell me there are actually quite a few people who have nothing better to do than watch ghost movies in the morning. Sure enough, I could hear numerous girls shrieking, then burying their faces into their boyfriends' shoulders, while the boys would subtly comfort their frightened partners. I glanced at Ethan. HMPH*. He seemed disappointed. Why? Growing up, my mom dragged me to watch 3 horror movies a week. How could I possibly be scared by this mild fare? If she knew, I'd lose all face. The film's most terrifying moment arrived when the ghost bride dramatically unfurled her blood-red wedding dress. It was then that Ethan, who had been sitting silently beside me, finally shifted, leaning into me. I instinctively leaned back, whispering, "Are you scared?" Ethan met my gaze with his stark, black and white eyes. I understood. He was absolutely terrified. It was exactly like when my little dog got scared during a horror movie and leaped into my lap, giving me that same look. But a dog is a dog, and he's a human, so after a moment's hesitation, I gently patted his arm to comfort him. His hand was large, incredibly warm, and surprisingly sweaty. How did I know? Because the moment I touched it, he interlaced his fingers with mine. My lips curved into a tiny, involuntary smile. "Boss," I whispered, "why are you so frightened?" Ethan replied smoothly, "I'm just excited." Ha, he was so stubborn, I didn't believe him for a second. Ethan seemed to sense my skepticism. After the horror movie ended, he held my hand again for the second film. This time, I watched him closely and saw he was perfectly calm, truly not scared. But then, why was he holding my hand tighter and tighter? What was he implying? Even at the buffet, he held my hand, as if I'd get lost. That entire day, we practically lived in the cinema, spending an exorbitant amount of money. I'd never realized my boss was such a movie buff. He loved watching films on holidays, and his preferences were eerily similar to mine. He enjoyed both horror and detective genres. The moment we stepped out of the cinema, I let out a sneeze in the parking lot. Ethan, ever so thoughtful, drove me back to the hotel and directly to the 3rd floor for a hot spring bath. Oh, capitalism, so detestable yet so utterly blissful. To sink into that vast hot spring pool, all by myself, surrounded by beautiful rose petals, I solemnly declared myself the pink fairy of misty vapors. I was happily playing with the rose petals when I suddenly heard footsteps. If it wasn't a server, it had to be other women coming for a soak. I didn't think much of it until Ethan, with his perfectly sculpted six-pack abs, appeared. I was utterly dumbfounded. It wasn't just the sheer perfection of his abs, it was, how could he be here? My unreservedly staring gaze clearly pleased him. A smirk played on his lips. "Satisfied?" he asked, then deliberately flexed his solid physique. Was that what they called a dog waist? I flushed crimson. "Boss," I stammered, "isn't this a women's hot spring pool?" Ethan, ever the diligent educator, explained, "This isn't a women's hot spring pool, Tangy. It's a public hot spring. You just need to book a VIP room to enter." I instinctively clutched my chest. "So, do you know how many people have booked rooms?" Ethan calmly nodded. "Yes, just the 2 of us." "All right, fine. I wasn't that rigid. Each to their own side, I suppose." Of course, I couldn't freely indulge my adoration for the rose petals anymore, only occasionally picking one up to fiddle with. Suddenly, a sound near my ear made me turn my head. There was Ethan, who had quietly approached my side. "What are you?" Before I could finish my sentence, I abruptly slipped and tumbled backward. Ethan's eyes widened in alarm. He instinctively reached out to catch me, but he clearly underestimated my weight. Not only did he fail to break my fall, but I ended up pushing him down beneath me. In that moment, I swear I wasn't thinking at all. I felt no pain and certainly dared not dwell on any softness. One of his arms wrapped around my waist, the other cradled the back of my neck, our eyes locked. Aha, just like those ridiculously cheesy K-drama scenes. I scrambled off him, then fled like my hair was on fire, scurrying back to my room. I locked the door then, as if nothing out of the ordinary had occurred. I marched into the bathroom, took a long shower, changed into my pajamas, and burrowed under the covers, feigning sleep. Ding-dong, the doorbell chimed. I clapped my hands over my ears, pretending not to hear, until Ethan's low, deep voice filtered through the door. "I've bought some ointments for you. Check where you're hurt and apply them. I'll head back now. Tomorrow, wake up at 7 a.m., our flight is at 9. That voice sent my heart galloping like a frightened deer. After making absolutely sure the coast was clear, I opened the door like a thief, snatched the bag of medicines, and slammed it shut again. Sitting on the bed, I stared at the colorful array of ointment boxes, 7 or 8 different kinds. If before I'd only known how to complain, now I meticulously examined each one, then snapped a photo and sent it to my best friend, Chloe. "Chloe, I think I'm in love." Chloe immediately video called, bursting into laughter the moment she saw my betrayed face. "My lifelong single girl, what do you know about love?" "I always told you your boss had ulterior motives, but you swore he didn't, even betting 30 years of your lifespan. You're truly ruthless." I recalled the second time I had to go on a business trip. When I'd asked for permission to go on a date, Chloe had warned me, "Something's up." The third time my date was ruined, Chloe had confidently declared that my boss was clearly interested in me, telling me not to forget her when I struck it rich. Back then, I'd vehemently denied it, even swearing the most vicious oath of my life. It's always easier for outsiders to see the truth. I blushed furiously as I recounted everything that had unfolded over the past 2 days, while Chloe happily munched on sunflower seeds, wearing a smirk worthy of a wicked stepmother. "Sister," she chirped, "still the same old saying, if you get rich, don't forget me, okay?" I bit my lip, feeling a little shy. "But I've never dated before, I don't know how." Chloe waved her hand dismissively. "Who cares? Your boss is definitely a novice too. He'll guide you. Anyway, dating just comes down to one thing: follow your heart. Don't try to act all high and mighty. If you like him, like him. If you don't, then don't." Indeed, she was a woman with a football field of ex-boyfriends. Her dating advice was incredibly sharp, but none of this helped my insomnia. Chloe, already planning for her future wealth, stayed up late with me, playing games until we hit rank 1. I finally drifted off around 4 a.m. The result? I could barely drag myself out of bed at 7 a.m., leading to a frantic scramble to pack my belongings. I had no idea the designer bag my mom had snatched for me during a live stream for 699 yuan was such shoddy quality. The moment I reached the door, there was a dramatic asterisk whoosh asterisk, and all my belongings cascaded onto the floor. My precious miracle water bottle rolled out, coming to a precise stop right at Ethan's feet. Oh, my social sisters, I was utterly mortified. Ethan, too, was visibly startled, taking a moment to react. He let out a soft chuckle, then, with a helpless look, gently patted my head. "It's okay," he said. "It's still early, just wait a bit." A few minutes later, he reappeared with a brand new suitcase. He knelt, meticulously helping me gather every fallen item and neatly pack it inside. To spare me further embarrassment, he began recounting an even more mortifying incident from his university days abroad. At an international airport, his suitcase broke, causing him to miss his flight. In that moment, my heart couldn't help but flutter. Who could possibly resist such a gentle boss? On the plane, I was buzzing with excitement. Initially, I'd wanted to chat with him all the way to the company. You know, when you first start developing feelings for someone, you can't help but want to know everything about them, their entire family history, to see if you have anything in common. But alas, I hadn't even fully settled into my seat before the flight attendant announced it was time to put away the tray tables, and I was already fast asleep. I woke up to find myself leaning against Ethan's shoulder. He was asleep too, his eyelashes incredibly long, even longer than those in advertisements for lash-lengthening serums. Mine weren't even half as long. He was breathing very evenly, no snoring, no drooling. I was utterly captivated. Observing him up close, I realized his features were truly flawless. I recalled one time a male model from the company was late, and the photographer had mistaken Ethan for the model, snapping a whole flurry of shots. I eventually had to explain, and to the photographer's immense regret, I deleted the photos that had been uploaded to the computer. That day, the female colleagues hadn't even eaten lunch. They were all crowding around to see. Some even offered 100 yuan for a single photo, which I, with a heavy heart, refused. Suddenly, Ethan's eyes flickered open. In those bright, clear eyes, my reflection stared back, still hazy with sleep, clearly just having woken up. Damn it, I'm doomed. Why was my heart thumping so erratically? I couldn't believe that in just 5 short hours, I was falling for this man all over again. The flight attendant's sweet voice announced, "Dear passengers, our flight will be arriving at the airport in 20 minutes. Instantly, I snapped out of my daze, my brain immediately shifting gears from admiring his handsome face. Ethan chuckled softly. My face burned, and I couldn't bring myself to look at him. Chloe always said he was a crouching dragon, and I was a phoenix fledgling two of a kind, so I shouldn't be shy. Crouching dragon and phoenix fledgling were originally epithets for Zhu Liang and Pang Tong, but she failed to mention he was an SSS rank master of flirting. I gasped, a sharp intake of breath. What's wrong? Ethan's smile softened, his gaze turning worried. I awkwardly rubbed my neck. It seems I leaned for too long. My neck is a bit stiff. Ethan tried to suppress a laugh, offering to massage my neck. I quickly recoiled, shaking my head. I can do it myself. I can do it myself. I haven't had a proper shower recently. If he massaged something strange out, I'd definitely have to jump out of the plane from embarrassment. I'll just go to a public bathhouse with Chloe, I inwardly vowed. Why was I suddenly feeling happy about going to work after this business trip? Was it because I'd get to see my boss? I didn't really like him. It's just that whenever I thought of him, my heart would race. Chloe had teased me about it all yesterday afternoon, saying that's exactly how it feels when you like someone, and when both sides are in love, it's even sweeter. The moment I stepped into the office, my colleagues swarmed me, forgetting all about their coffee and breakfast. Their faces were alight with scandalous gossip. Tangy, one began, that thing you said in the company group chat the other day, about the boss secretly liking you, was it true or false? Did he really ruin 5 of your dates? I tried my best to suppress the surging joy in my heart, explaining with a serious face. I was just drunk and spouting nonsense, everyone. Please don't pay any attention. Chloe had warned me not to rush into announcing a relationship until it's fully confirmed to avoid any awkwardness later. My colleagues visibly relaxed, patting their chests. You scared us. We actually thought the boss secretly liked you. Another female colleague chimed in. Seriously, we were so shocked. After saying that, she conspicuously flaunted her perfect figure. Everyone, even the cleaner downstairs, knew she had a crush on the boss, but he never paid her the slightest attention. She used to be his secretary, but was transferred to a general office position, her desk now an entire office away. Before, I thought Ethan was just cold. Now, I saw he was simply very proper in his interactions between men and women. Just when I thought the crisis was averted, I saw Ethan standing at the back of the crowd, still cradling his coffee cup. A bad premonition settled in my gut. Sure enough, he slowly added one more sentence. It's true. The office fell silent for 3 deafening seconds, then erupted in gasps and whispers. I covered my face, desperate to escape, to vanish, but Ethan added another sentence. It's 9 o'clock, work hours, tangy, to my office. Everyone watched me with complex expressions as I followed him, some gazes as sharp and cold as daggers. The moment we entered his office, Ethan deliberately closed the door, his expression not looking particularly pleased. You know I'm pursuing you, don't you? He was over 1.85 meters tall, while I was only 1.65 meters. His serious demeanor instantly made me feel pressured. I silently took a step back. Are you serious? Chloe had told me about this advance and retreat tactic. Ethan took a step forward, and I instinctively took another step back. He advanced again. Finally, I had nowhere left to retreat, finding myself pinned against the wall. He stood half an arm's length away, placing his hand on the wall above my head, adopting that quintessential domineering CEO pose straight out of a drama. Can you be a little serious, Tangy? He asked, his voice laced with a mixture of helplessness and tender indulgence. I flushed, darting my eyes away to gaze at the shy plant on the table behind him. Am very serious, I replied. Hearing my answer, he nodded, visibly relieved. Let's have lunch together in the cafeteria at noon. I obediently nodded. Okay. He stroked my head with satisfaction, and my heart raced even faster. After work, I eagerly packed my bag and headed to the bus stop. The moment I stepped out of the company building, Ethan's SUV glided to a stop right in front of me. He got out to open the door for me, his expression clearly displeased. I finished the meeting 2 minutes late, and you'd already vanished so quickly. I felt a blush creep up my neck. I'd been so used to my routine that I'd completely forgotten he'd offered to drive me home that evening. My afternoon had been consumed by year-end celebration planning, and he'd simply slipped my mind. All I wanted was to go home and eat. Ethan's expression softened into understanding. I know a rather nice Western restaurant only half an hour's drive from here. Would that be all right? Yes, of course. I quickly nodded. My place was quite far from the company. It usually took me an hour and a half with transfers. Just as I was about to find a topic for conversation, my phone rang. It was my mom. A pang of guilt hit me. Ethan looked at me skeptically. Why aren't you answering your phone? I couldn't exactly tell him the phone felt scalding hot in my hand. I pressed answer and put it to my ear. Oh, why is the volume so loud today? From the other end, my mom's familiar voice boomed. Tangy, why are you picking up my call so late today? I tried to sound casual. I'm in the car, Mom, can't hear very well. My mom cut straight to the chase. Ah, that last business trip you didn't get to meet Zio Lee. He's a really great catch. Are you free tomorrow evening? Go have dinner with him. In a panic, I quickly clamped a hand over the phone, stealing a quick glance at Ethan. He was still driving seriously, so I breathed a sigh of relief. Mom, the company has to work overtime tomorrow. It's almost Chinese New Year, there's a ton of work. My mom's voice rose sharply. Do you think I'm stupid? I've eaten more rice than you. Are you trying to trick me out of a blind date? Fine, I won't make things difficult for you. There's only half a month until Chinese New Year. If you don't bring a boyfriend home, don't even think about coming back. I vaguely nodded. I know, Mom. It was only after my mom had gone on for a good while that I finally took the phone from my ear. I thought the speaker quality must have been good enough to prevent him from hearing everything, but then I saw the speakerphone indicator lit up on my screen. I froze, horrified. Ethan glanced at me, a slight smirk playing on his lips. Auntie has hung up, Tangy. Why are you still holding your phone? Now, I wasn't just worried about my mom's ultimate threat. I was utterly, irrevocably mortified. These past few days, I genuinely felt like I was dying of shame. The intersection, a red light held us captive for 120 seconds. Ethan turned to me and asked, "Why do you reject what's close and chase after what's distant?" He spoke with impeccable logic, and I understood him perfectly. From a business perspective, I was indeed making a mistake. I admitted to myself that I had feelings for him, but it had only been 3 or 4 days, perhaps a little too soon. So, I finally asked the question that had plagued me for so long. When? When did you start liking me? It wasn't just my curiosity. Chloe was curious, and my colleagues were also incredibly curious, making me now afraid to even go to the water cooler, all because everyone loved to gossip about me. Ethan rested one hand on the window, the other lazily draped over the steering wheel, his exquisite face bathed in the soft glow of the sunset, looking as serene as an oil painting. The very first day you started work, the company held an evening party. You drank too much, and in the elevator, you directly bit my lip. After saying that, he lightly touched his lips with a finger, a faint smile playing, his voice a lazy, helpless drawl. You were quite fierce back then. I felt a wave of shame wash over me, my face burning crimson. My dear sisters, I declare this is far more embarrassing than my drunken company chat revelation. My luggage scattering at the hotel door, my mom demanding I get married over the phone, nothing, absolutely nothing compared to this. I vaguely recalled the incident from about a year ago. The wine at that party had been excellent, and I definitely overindulged. Back then, I'd simply imagined I was dreaming, flirting with some handsome stranger. I never, in my wildest dreams, thought I had actually done that, practically throwing myself at him. Mercifully, he hadn't said a word, nor had he called the police to report me for harassment. Ethan raised an eyebrow, a mischievous glint in his eyes. Do you need me to help you remember? I immediately threw up an X with my hands. Absolutely not necessary, Ethan chuckled softly. I wrapped my arms around the seatbelt, pretending to be utterly absorbed in something outside. How could I face this now? My humiliation dated back an entire year. It had nothing to do with *this me. A year later, I rarely ate Western food, but Chloe always raved about the ambience, saying it was even better with a glass of wine. But it was rather embarrassing when, just as we settled into a table by the window, the waiter politely inquired, "Hello, our couple's meal comes with a small complimentary gift. Would you like one?" I was still hesitating, about to shake my head, when my eyes caught sight of the small plush bear she held. My body froze. It was palm-sized, made of faux fur with long eyelashes and irresistibly soft fur. One glance told you it was perfect for cuddling. It even had a tiny heart-shaped pocket on its chest. Ethan chuckled softly. "Then we'll have the couple's meal." After the waiter left, I fiddled with the bear and awkwardly asked, "Since when did we become a couple?" The corners of Ethan's eyes crinkled as he smiled. "For a long time now. Since you kissed me, you have to take responsibility." I scoffed. "Who believes that?" Ethan let out a soft sigh. "That was my first kiss. You have to take responsibility." Hearing the words "first kiss," my face suddenly felt hot. I mumbled, "As if you have a first kiss." Ethan laughed, seemingly in an even better mood. Chloe was right. Within 100 steps of a crouching dragon, there's always a phoenix waiting. This was exactly like that. A little embarrassment on my part wouldn't kill me. After mulling it over, a hint of smugness crept in. If you want me to agree, you'll have to show me what you've got. I'm not easily won over, you know. Ethan nodded seriously. I will try. After we had clarified things, I became much more straightforward. All my colleagues at the company started calling me boss's wife, and I accepted it, almost as if it were a natural progression. Yet, whenever Ethan himself called me boss's wife, my heart still did a funny little flutter. That day, Vivian and I were gossiping by the water cooler about a male colleague who constantly took advantage of female staff. Vivian insisted I should report him to the boss. I declared, seething with indignation, someone like that definite.